End of day video as usual, I guess. Let me zoom out. I often start too zoomed in because it's the default. But just want to do a little update, and then I'm actually going over to collect some seed stock after I do this video, so hoping there will be at least enough light to do what I got to do later. Alright, so today I finally decided and planted in the nanny berries that were up in all these pots. I also said to myself several times that, gosh, I really need to pot some things up. And then it didn't happen. So, well, so it goes, I guess. But I spent a lot of time in the garden. The lanternflies are finally starting to die on their own volition, but I think that several of them have lived long enough to lay eggs, despite my best efforts. I'm not going to spray the milkweed, and they're too fast now. Case in point, I think I see one. Did I see one? Yeah, right there. See him? Yeah. He hopped before I grabbed, and they always do. I can't get them anymore. So, at least I kept the numbers pretty well down. You know, this one's got damages, so... Oh, I already killed that one. I managed to actually kill that one. It's dead. It was pre-dead. I'm letting a lot of the milkweed go to seed, not because I plan to let them actually fluff out. Hopefully I'll catch everything in time. But actually because my plans are to collect the fibers out of the pods and see what kind of fiber properties those have. Because this is a year where I'm getting interested in spinning and native fibers and what kind of native fibers might have been used. So I'm trying to save quantities. It would appear that milkweed was more like a cotton, where the pods, rather than like a bast type of thing. Fascinating how this variety of milkweed up here has smooth pods, and every other specimen of milkweed on my whole grounds here has the spiky pods. The spikes don't hurt or anything, but it's just a fascinating difference. And I'm finally getting raspberries again off of this section. Oh, I actually missed one, didn't I? Boo, boo, boo. Do-do-do. Yoink. Perfect. It would appear I'm leaving the red bud here. Gotta cut a couple of the lower branches so that this walkway remains passable. There's a lot of insects having bored into the stalks of the Miyoga ginger, I've noticed, as I'm starting to harvest on it. So that's been a really interesting thing to notice. One of the nanny berries, oops, I forgot to point. One of the nanny berries I put up here. Can I put this camera high enough that you'll see? I also put a lot of diatomaceous earth. So if you can see the white soil, it's in the middle of that white powdery stuff. And I cut back a whole bunch of the pokeweed that was going to seed, and I chucked the pokeweed sticks with the berries still on them down the cliff, because that's really good soil stabilization. It's not great for keeping walkways open, but it's good soil stabilization, so that's okay. See what I mean? Spiky. The other ones were smooth. This is the Baptisia. I cut the seed pods out, gave several stalks of seed pods away. I still have one seed pod stalk in on my kitchen table that I want to break down and throw over the cliff as well. because, like, literally the more native plants that are growing down my cliff, the better. Ooh, I do need to trim the hardy kiwi there. The silvervine kiwi seems to be getting self-trimmed by creatures eating every part that comes out the fencing, so the fact that I set this up in a way that I'll be able to guard it is still really good. I may need a couple more 6 foot posts, but other than that, it's good to go. Let's see, so I just stumbled upon a 2020 picture of this all dug out and relined with stone and like freshly soil surfaced, and isn't it wild how quick nature takes over? It's only 3 years. This is 2023 that this video is being made, if it's hard to tell. This is August. Yeah. I have these hardy fruits. These are fruits. And they are hardy. Like, these have been overwintering really well. But I think they stay green and they don't get any bigger or juicier than that. They do taste pretty good. They're sticky inside that paper. They taste pretty good, but they're not like a satisfying amount. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like this setup is allowing for the same reseeding rate that having it ground level did. I'm basically only getting radishes reseeding up here. So I might end up just having this be like the heavy mulch zone every winter. Reorganize some of the branches for the thornless blackberry back in there. The pawpaws, this one pawpaw is getting pretty big. The other pawpaw is staying small, I think because it's in such a highly competitive spot. But this one, it's as tall as me just about. It's at least 5 foot already. It's only 3 years in, so that seems like a pretty fast rate for a slow growing tree. And then back in here, see these leaves? That, at about 2 foot, is where that pawpaw's topping off. I am unsure if it's too late for me to be able to fish that out, this support. That was more to keep the exciting ex-neighbors. Oh my God! That's the most exciting thing that's happened in years. That house is for sale. Oh, thank goodness. I think it's under contract already. But it was more to keep the ex-neighbors from like hacking my plants down. Oh my goodness! Oh, okay. I thought that was the neem. Yet again, if you see a bottle that looks like this and isn't this one during the tour, please say so. This has been very helpful for the apple tree, and I've noticed that my quince is suffering the same thing, but there's neem in a very similar bottle that I've lost. I don't know where the heck it is, so if you see that, let me know. Yeah, so hopefully with the new neighbors I'll be able to take this fence down, because the only reason this crappy wire fence is even here is because they like to just let their dogs run free, and pretty much encouraged them to use the bathroom on my side so they wouldn't have to clean it up. So I put that up, but then it becomes almost impossible to maintain because those kind of fences are, especially when the other side wasn't like willing to even mow on a regular basis, or anything on a regular basis. So yeah, this is all doing really well here. This I think this might be bone set, but it's not fuzzy like bone set usually is, so I'm absolutely impressed because I didn't think that was going to get 5 foot. And I may need to move both of them. You see the one down there and the one right here. Have to transplant still. I mean, I got a lot of potting up and potting down to do. Why are there just mosquitoes here? But here's the other nanny berry. They like soggy ground, so hopefully where I put it up top, I also saw that they were really hardy. So the reason I put the one up top is because that area is so nitrogen dense that you need something really strong growing there. I've got a couple of locust trees, black locust and honey locust, growing up there, trying to fill the spot. But then I wanted to add this to it. And then I wanted to put this one here because this is right by the marsh that I've created from my sump pump. That I think it'll do really well. And then it'll be like nannyberry, elderberry, you know. I think that'll be a good mix. Oh, look, that one's got like pink inside. I thought all my white ones were the same. Do they all have pink inside? I don't remember noticing that at all. I ended up with one extra thornless blackberry right there. I'm hoping to get a second patch of those going in a protected zone that isn't too close to the raspberries, because the thing is, I don't notice that they're fruiting back here, so I think I need a second black raspberry patch to remind me to come over here and look over here. I'm just saying. I think I have a really, really late flowering variety of the ground nut, because I've seen a lot of people posting that their flowers are already blooming in my same hardiness zone and even colder. But this is from Edible Acres, this particular plant. I'm fascinated because I don't know if this is like a genetic or a nutrient thing, that some of the leaves look variegated. I do have 3, but it seems like each, well, I mean, they're all intertwined, so it's possible that there might be an original one that was a variegated variety that got all mixed in, or it's possible that my soil here is doing something weird to some of it. What do you think? It's groundnut or hopness. They are really good. They are one of the ones that it's more likely you'll be allergic. Oh, see, that's so interesting, because these ones are like browning at the tips eventually. Huh! And other parts of it are so green. Well, maybe that's why they flower so late. Maybe they're struggling. If you've got any ideas what to do for the soil, what would be good? It's just a loamy, well-drained, slightly clay in there. It's actually hard to dig them out while they're actively growing. Something else I need to do here is trim back the lower leaves, the lower stalks on this purple plum that self-seeded itself over there. I transplanted it because I thought it was cute, but I don't want it to have like fungal problems down in the tangle. I want it to just have a straight trunk until it's up out of the raspberry below it. So that's strawberry shortcake, raspberry shortcake. That's what it is. The variety raspberry shortcake that is of this. You can find them in a lot of magazines, a lot of catalogs that come in the mail have that variety available. There was also a Baby Cakes blackberry, but that one didn't stay for sale. Something I'm starting to notice is that some of the experimental varieties are... What is this bug? You're a weird bug. Hello, friend. You look like you're probably some sort of bee, but you're not the right colors or stripes. But, yeah, whatever I was saying. Ask me in the comments, and I'll have to timestamp this and ask me in the comments what I was trying to finish saying, because I forget what I was just saying, and then I'll answer your question. How's that sound? Give me a timestamp, and I'll reel it back, and I'll find out, and I'll tell you. Oh, that's hilarious. Miyoga ginger stalks, I'm finding that they're really, really good at being green onions, basically. Really strong green onions, and I like them better cooked than fresh because they're really just too strong fresh. But cooked in, it's almost like a green vegetable kind of thing with like a ginger to it. I have been stripping the leaves off. I feel like the leaves would be good in like a soup sachet or something, kind of like a bay leaf kind of thing, because they're, I don't know, I'm working on finding ways to use all of it. And I'm doing like a sugar and vinegar soak on some of the flowers that I fished up out of there, because the flowers are always way at the bottom. And they're kind of hard to see. Like, you have to stick your hand in and kind of sort your way through the soil. And it's better to do it right after a rain, because it's easier to tell what's going on. You know, just saying. I am really excited that I have the jewel weed, like precious stone, the word jewel as in precious stone, finally growing here. The seed pods are edible. I learned that from a friend of mine. I didn't originally know that. Like, these seed pods that usually, if you touch them, they explode. See that? You touch them, they explode. If you can get them to your mouth without them exploding, that one was pretty bitter. But the seed pods only, that one was too bitter. Maybe overripe or something, but that's the only part of those that are edible. This one's been a dear delicacy, but that's okay. As long as I've got one going to seed to continue. I don't think I got to do this, did I? No, I lost this before I got to do it. Antifungal, organic, because you see stuff's happening to the leaves here. This is a meter persimmon, which is a native persimmon, so I don't know why it's struggling, because it's native to here. It's just a slightly cultivated variety, but there it is, struggling. Kind of looks like mosaic virus. Is that a native virus? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's a virus that's not from here. Getting at it. But anyway, there's that. The apple's having cedar apple rust. No, that wasn't what we decided that was. Is it? Because no, that creates those crazy amoeba-looking things in the tree. This is just like all the leaves fall down. And the apple's apple scab. Scab, that's what it is. And they do get scabbies on the scabs. Little scabby things on the apples. But if I spray it often enough, very few of them get as bad as that apple right there, which has like a rotten pit into it. So this organic option of just like copper soap, copper octanate copper soap at 0.08%. It's been helping a lot. Funny enough, my neighbor over there gets like a crap ton of apples with no trouble, but they told me I can come pick them. They're all only about this big. But don't worry, that either means that there's too many apples on the tree, and they should be standard size apples, or I just need everyone to know that even though you were probably raised being told that crab apples are poison apples, they're not. They're just not as tasty. They're jelly apples. Historically, they were used to make apple jelly and apple jam. I just knocked that pot over, and I just got my shoe completely full of potting soil. Fun times. I have an alarm going off to go get that propagating material in the park across the river. So even though I don't think you've seen everything that's actively going on right now, and even though I just spilled soil all over the place, I think I'm going to let you go and thank you for watching. Oh, I do keep forgetting to mention, and it's not that I forgot to mention, it's that I accidentally made it a private, video. I had accidentally changed my settings for publishing, and it stays automatically there, but I've got 2 quail, and I've got a story for you, and I need to tell you. So the 2 quail are inside to keep them safe. Something yet again was getting in. It was either too small or too low to the ground to catch on the video, so I don't have any indicator of what it was. But it got further than I thought it would because, well, it got further than it otherwise would have. Because I thought the birds were just digging under here and getting themselves trapped. And so I kept bunkering the side of the drip tray there. But it turns out something was pulling the birds under there. So, 3 in one night, and then I bunkered it up because that's what I thought was going on. Then 2 in another night, and I only had 7 birds. So I just have the 2 hens now, and they're in a tank inside the house for their safety. So, still getting eggs. 2 a day. But it's very different than having them outside, and I don't know. In some ways it's easier. It's just a much smaller setup than I'd like to have for them, if I'm honest. Rather have a bigger setup for them. So, I guess I'm kind of thinking about all those things in a certain way of do I want to have quail inside long term? If I do, how am I giving them a bigger space in such a small house? Or do I just want to see these 2 birds out as pets and then just take a break and think about it? Decide if I'm doing quail or chickens, because if it's that small of a predator that it's getting in and out without any signs of wear, because there was no dig tunnel, there wasn't anything, then chickens would be able to fend it off as long as I got big enough chickens. But I'd have to completely change the infrastructure and everything, and they'd get to come out sometimes, because chickens are more domesticated. They're easier to, they don't just immediately fly away never to return. Most chickens, if they've been raised right, if you get them from somewhere that raises them, they'll come back to their safe spot at night and stuff like that. So, I don't know, things to think about, but that's an update. That's an update that I don't particularly like, but it is what it is, I suppose, and I wanted to tell you. But as it is, this is run pretty long, and I need to go to the park and get my Kentucky coffee bean and I think there should be Prunus pennsylvanica in season right now. I might be late. I might be 3 weeks late, but I'm going to go give it a try, because there's one that even the seed pits are candy sweet. It's over there at the park. So, I'm going to go make that trip, and I hope you're having a really good day. Thank you so much for visiting the cliffside. This has been a really long, rambly video, and has been permaculture. Take care. Bye.